I've never had a discussion about insuring barbecues before, and quite frankly, I may never do it again. With Seattle real estate on the headlines of the Seattle Times, who better to talk to than someone who is at the forefront of the game of real estate? Rodolfo Hernandez joins us for the first time, managing broker with the C-Real Group, Keller Williams Real Estate. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Ben.
It's good to see you.
Happy to be here. Excited.
Yeah. Well, I want to hit on a couple things. I want to talk a little bit about the REO properties, and because there's been talk about all this gluttony of bank inventory that's coming on the market, and that's been your business for quite a while now. Talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on that.
Well, the REO inventory of bank-owned properties is been very interesting, very fun. Washington State is a little bit different than the rest of the nation. The bubble really burst here in Washington State a year later than California. That shows its first signs. So we're a little bit behind on all these trends. So what we're seeing what happened next year might hit us today. So, but the inventory here in Washington State has been very low compared to the nation. So the nation took a year or two to figure out the REO process, or the process to foreclose all these properties. Washington State wasn't that easy. We have a lot of laws protecting the homeowners, so it took longer for the banks to foreclose. However, there is a lot of big inventory out there. It's called the shadow inventory. From all the properties that have been foreclosed, only you see less than 3% out there.
Less than 30%?
3%.
Less than 3%?
Yes.
So there's 97% more inventory that's out there on the foreclosed.
And we call like REO properties who are behind, homeowners who are 30 days late or 90 days late. Usually when it's 90 days late, they don't come back. They go REO or some other things. So it's huge.
So you think there is a lot of inventory that's going to come on the market here soon?
It is a lot. Just to give you an idea, every month we receive an order to do 100 BPOs. It's called broker price opinion, are distressed homeowners who are a little bit 90 days at least behind. So it's more out there. So we see a little bit increase of property sales and all this, but it's more out there. There's a lot of loans that are going to be adjusted. There's a lot of needs for new jobs, and a lot of people are underemployed. So it's still a need. It's going to be a topic for a while. A lot of people say it's an election year and they put a brake on it. I don't know. The thing I think banks start getting smarter, stop foreclosing, because the property gets in really bad condition. We've seen horror stories of properties foreclosed, and people get upset. The other day we have a foreclosed home, and we went in, everything looks fine, but the homeowner poured concrete on the pipes. So I tried to open the faucet, and it was like, oh, what's this hard thing? It was concrete all the way to the main. So
he poured concrete in the pipes.
Yes.
Because he didn't make his mortgage payment, and he was upset that they didn't.
Yes.
The bank didn't like it.
They take the windows, they take the doors, they take the fridge, they take everything, and the property to get that in process to put in the market to sell takes 6-9 months. So the property is in really bad condition.
So they're better off just keeping the old owner in there and then slightly moving them out or giving them a way to rent it back or whatever it may be.
They're trying different options. That's why the short sales start picking up more and more and more. Actually, a lot of banks, they call the short sales the new REO, because they can work with the homeowner. The homeowner has something in their advantage, and they take care of the property because at least they're living there. They pay
if they want to shower, they're not going to pour concrete in the pipes.
So that's right. So the banks are trying to get to that route because they see that they can sell an REO 30% more than a short sale. 30% more than the same property as an REO bank owned, and the buyer is still getting a discount.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing more of that now. I want to switch gears a little bit to think about, because the market here we know is hot. We've all talked about it. People who are out looking for houses can't even get into them. They get in and there's 7 offers and it's hard to buy a house right now. What about, now you do a lot of work, not just in Seattle, but also in Mexico.
Right.
I just got back from Mexico. I'd like to spend some more time there. Tell us a little bit about what's happening in the international real estate market of Mexico, our neighbor to the south.
The neighbor of the south, and a lot of people, I do a lot of promotion of Mexico, and I'm U.S. citizen and Mexican citizen, and I have dual citizenship. And a lot of people ask me, hey, who are you more, right? Which one, right? And if we're at war, which one? And I said, it's like you asked me who I love more, my mother or my father. Each one has difference and advantage, and I love them the same. So I promote Mexico, even I know Mexico has their own issues, but we're neighbors. We're here together, and we have a lot of advantage. And we started with Mexico real estate. Mexico real estate started a long time ago with the NAFTA trade, opening the trade between Mexico and the U.S. and allow American people buy fee simple in Mexico. Now, if it's in the shore, we still have a tight law there that you need to buy it through a trust, basically, and you can renew the trust indefinitely, but you own that trust. It's the technicality around that. But
sure.
You can own fee simple. However, we started selling Mexico real estate with this very old person was living in Buren. And I went there to do a listing presentation. It was a 2-bedroom house falling apart in a rainy day in Seattle. And this woman was just sitting there waiting for the end, eating canned soup. And I asked her, what happened with your family? And she wants to sell and buy a small apartment in another place. And so the 2 kids, they live in New York and another one in Houston. The husband passed away. The story. And somebody told her about Mexico real estate and said, oh, you're Mexican, can you find out? And it's when I started researching about Mexico real estate, and I saw the boom. So we went down to Mexico to see some properties. She never came back. She just...
From Mexico, she stayed.
We sent the documents to Mexico for signing the sale of the house here. She never came back. And I saw her 5 years ago. It's like she regained youth. She looks more energetic. She's running. She ran a marathon, and she found a boyfriend. And,
the matchmaker.
And the thing is, their kids, they go visit grandma now because grandma lives in a fun spot. And she made it with the same money she was making here. She got amazing property down there in front of the water. She walks to the market. She gained life. And I saw that opportunity because a lot of people here, they don't have an option. And it's when I talked to my wife and said, we need to promote this because this can be an option for a lot of people. And we started like that. Mexico is not for everybody. It has their own language. It's an issue.
Sure.
But it's fun. It's fun. And we don't sell the properties in Mexico. We sell a lifestyle. And so we invite people to come over and see the real integration. Because one thing is when you go as a tourist, you go to the fun places and all that, and you pay top dollars.
For the resorts.
Yeah,
and
the resorts and all that. But when you're living integrated in the community, something else. And each city has different character for that. So it's fun, interesting, and make me travel to Mexico more often.
So how does that integration work? I mean, I can only imagine, as you said, Mexico has these connotations about it. Yes. With, people like, getting their arms chopped off and put on a roadside.
Right.
How does that integration work for people who may want to consider retiring in Mexico? So
what we do is we do a presentation here, usually a day or a week, and we bring people who actually are living in Mexico, retires. So we bring to give the testimonial. And this is the first question. I'm going to get killed, cut in pieces, and put back together to get killed one more time. Right? And that's the first question. And the thing is, yes, Mexico border is crazy. And I go there and I just watch out. Usually it's where you go. In every city.
So you're not selling real estate in Tijuana
No. But, I was seeing numbers. I have more danger walking downtown Seattle Saturday night in Belltown with all these things than going to the border at night. So it's depending the perspective where you see it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're here with Rodolfo Hernandez with the C-Real Group. So we just have about a minute left before I have to go to break. What are some of the big the big hurdles that maybe a buyer would have? I mean, is it the emotional part?
The transaction lasts longer. And the expectations are that we are set that in 30 days we're going to close or get the approval for a short sale. And doesn't happen anymore. So they have the right expectations at the beginning. Interview your agent.
And this is the same in Mexico? It takes a long time too?
It takes longer because of paperwork and the immigration documents. So the transaction takes longer. It's very important to interview the agent to make sure he or she has the experience and ask the worst case scenarios all the time to be prepared. Expect the best, but be prepared for the worst.
Well, thank you so much, George. Certainly interesting information on really a life change. I mean, the potential to retire in Mexico and something maybe not a lot of people think about, but it is an opportunity. It's a choice.
It is. And it's not only retires. We have people from company working for this big company who are virtual. So they're virtual down in Mexico, having the U.S. salary, but they live down in Mexico, and they have the high-speed internet, everything, video conference and everything with the beach in the background, and they need to be in Seattle like 2 times a year. So it's not only retirees.
So anybody.
All
right.
Done that before.
I'm sold. I'm moving. We'll do the show from Mexico. Rodolfo, thanks so much for joining us. When we come back, we have talked a little bit about the headlines. And, certainly a headline that isn't necessarily in the newspaper is you need a college education. But you also need to know what that will cost because you have to make sure it's the right choice for you. Kim Miller is going to join us with some great and very interesting stories about pretty much horror stories with student loans. We'll be back after this break.